Hello, my name is Steve Bontrager. I just wanted to share a few thoughts with you. This morning in my devotions, I was reading in Ecclesiastes and I came to chapter 10, verse 10, and this is how it reads. If the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. But wisdom brings success. I remember hearing this story, and you've probably heard it before too. It's an old story, but I think it's so appropriate here, about two guys that were in a wood cutting contest, and they both were given axes, and they were going to see who could fell the most trees in a given amount of time. Well, one of the guys worked feverishly without stopping. The other guy, ever so often, would take a break. But at the end of the contest, the one that took the breaks had won. And the other guy was so frustrated, he said, "How did you win? You kept taking breaks." He said, "I wasn't taking breaks, I was sharpening my axe." So I think, wow, what a lesson for us to learn. And so I read this morning, and it just struck me so forcefully, thinking about my life and thinking about the things that I do and how much time probably is wasted because I haven't taken the time to, quote, sharpen my axe. And I think it's a life lesson that we need to learn, that I need to learn for sure. And so as I'm in the process of learning it here at this stage of my life, I wanted to share with you this thought, and hopefully encourage you to start thinking about how can you sharpen the axe. So I wrote the question, how do we do this? So obviously we're not talking about a literal axe. Of course, if you're chopping wood, you could be talking about a literal axe. But we're obviously talking here about life and keeping our life sharpened so that we are prepared for life. So how do we do that? Well, I just started writing things out that I thought would be helpful for me. And some of these might be helpful for you, but if nothing else, I just hope it spurs your thinking, that causes you to begin to process this and think, wow, how do I keep my axe sharp? How do I not let myself get dull? For me, a weekly Sabbath came first on my list. I have practiced Sabbath for many, many years. My Sabbath is Friday evening through Saturday morning. So I know it's not a typical Sabbath, but that's how mine has worked out. And Friday night, we completely unplug. And to be honest, it's not really all that spiritual. We just have pizza and watch a movie and just totally unplug. No work, nothing. The Saturday morning is much more spiritual. My wife and I get up and we have our devotions. And the cool thing about Saturday mornings is there's no rush. We have no agenda, no timetable. So she's back in her corner of the house and I'm up in my study or usually on the front porch, and we're having our devotions and spending time with God. And then we'll come together and have breakfast and we'll just share what God said to us. One of us will always ask the other one, what did God say? And then that starts a discussion. There have been times that we've sat at the table and wept together as we just pondered on how good God is and on the word that he'd shared with us. And it's a very, very powerful time. I can't imagine not having that in my life. So that part is already there. One of the things that I wrote down is I'd like to do several small mini vacations with my wife every year. We recently took a trip for our anniversary, 45th anniversary, and it was 3 nights, 3 days, and it was such a refreshing time. And I've heard it said before, I just have never been diligent to follow it, that every couple needs to have, and I can't remember what it was, I think it was 3 vacations a year where they just go off together at least 3 nights and hopefully 4 days. So if you go 1 night, that's not enough. 2 nights is not enough. 3 nights is much better. But of course, if you can only do 1 night, do it. That's fine. But I really want to try to start doing that. I think that will help my axe stay sharp. I'm not going to go through my entire list. I just wanted to give you some examples of things that I feel like what will be helpful for me that might also be helpful for you. I have things like taking study breaks. I love to study, so maybe 2 or 3 days, or I'm able just to get away and do nothing but pray and study. I think that would be like life-giving for me. I love to ride bicycle. I want to make sure I continue doing that and other exercise as well, because I think physically we need to stay sharp. I think staying physically sharp is a part of sharpening our axe. And then fellowship. It's so easy to become isolated in the world we live in today. So for me, it would be intentional. I'll have to be intentional about creating opportunities for fellowship. I go to work, my wife goes to work, we come home, we're tired, we don't want to hang out with anybody, but I think it's so critical that we spend time with other believers. And on I could go. I mean, those are some thoughts that I have. What does it mean to sharpen the axe? I think what it means is that we take a moment, we recalibrate our lives. We rethink the agenda that we are following. We rethink our goals. We rethink how we're spending our time, etc. Because what happens is, and I have a saying, that if we don't live life, life will live us. And so we have to do things on purpose. We have to do things intentionally. And I think that's part of sharpening our axe, is that we just take the time, we recalibrate, we reflect, we restore, and we relaunch. And that's not, and we do that, but we have to do it again and again and again. And that's how we keep our axe sharp. I hope this helps you. I hope that maybe it'll make you think about your life where things have grown dull, where you've had to work harder instead of smarter, and God will help you sharpen your axe. God bless you.